Hi, this is Alex Neuer, the writer and director of Sound of Violence, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 370. Tonight we're talking about a French film from 2008 called Martyrs, and that was picked by a listener slash buddy slash Indiegogo campaign supporter of our film, the final episode. And that's Alex, aka Broke Horror Fan, over on Instagram and his website and things like that. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Steve. We are Joeless tonight. He's sick, so we wish him a speedy recovery. He's in bed sleeping right now, I believe. Hopefully if he's following doctor's orders. I don't know. But Steve, what's going on, man?
Just enjoying the fucking crazy ass storms we've been getting. We got almost 3 feet of snow in the last 4 days.
Jeez.
It's nuts, man. I just goddamn hate this season so much. But yeah, other than that, just plugging along. I'm putting the final touches on our trailer, which I'm
Nice.
really psyched. It's coming out very soon, and yeah, I'm getting more and more excited about the movie. To be honest, every time I like do stuff, especially because I'm getting the bug back. And
It's
yeah,
contagious,
I'm,
dude.
I'm starting to get like the pieces for my story. Like, it's coming in the mail and stuff, and just picturing it and laughing to myself about it. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's contagious, man.
Hmm.
It's hella fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we're shooting again next month. We got a date set for the buddies and the actors and all that stuff. We're gonna film the rest of the mailman's his death and his his subsequent resurrection. And then my character's gruesome end, which I freaking love. I shot it a couple months ago as a test and it came out great. And it was nice to get the kinks out then.
hmm.
And then now, like the just making the effect is so much fun. It involves high pressured air, CO2 cartridges, a lot of tubing, and it looks fucking cool, man. So I applied for what what was his name? It was like a famous horror effects artist, not like Tom Savini level or KGB or anything like that.
Right.
But I don't know, I forget. But it was like I think I was like 17 years old and I applied for his school of makeup, and I'm pretty sure it was a fucking scam.
Okay, right.
But either way, I signed up for more information and never got any information from it. So I'm like, oh, whatever.
Right, right.
But that would have been, I think, if I had to pick something to go back and do, it'd probably be special effects. It's so fun.
Yeah, I would love to get into something like that, but I absolute fucking suck at anything that's art. Like I just,
Really?
I can create with my head, but not with my hands.
Uh,
It's just like one of those things. I just don't fucking have it. Like I did hand building in college, which is like working with clay and stuff, and my teacher would make fun of me every fucking class because my stuff looked like absolute dog shit. But he was
like
really,
bowl, you're making bowls and stuff,
yeah,
or
like, well, bowls, and like I had to make a container for food, and yeah, it was like this whole thing. And but I'd go on weekends to like do it, and he gave me a high mark. He's like, "You're trying," and I feel, but he's like, "You'll never be an artist." Well,
dang. Well,
yeah, he was
I mean,
hilarious though.
that's why you got 3D printers now, man. You can just
Yeah, that's right.
type it in and go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just excited. One to get it. Mine's fun. It's fun making mine, putting it all together and editing all that stuff. But like the story you've written for yours, it's just so fucking batshit insane. That's gonna be really funny to see it come to life. And
Oh,
I
it's
think people are in
getting.
for a
I honestly am going to be one of those guys that I could probably make a director's cut that's going to be 2 hours long because I'm planning to film a lot of different variations of certain scenes because I
Mhm.
can, right? It's just me in my house. So just to see like kind of what makes me laugh and what doesn't. So I'm really looking forward. I'm gonna just fucking riff and do like multiple takes of, dialogue, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, we'll put it as a special feature on the Blu-ray. I think only like 4 or 5 people bought that, so we
Yeah.
can do whatever the hell we want with it,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right.
But yeah, my making of is gonna be longer than my short because
Right.
we have so many outtakes where we're just like giggling
Right.
or like farting or something like that in the middle of a take. So it's like I don't
Hmm.
know. All right, so what we got going on today? No trivia, no Joseph recovering,
No news. Yeah.
no news. I guess what watch?
Yeah, let's see what's on what watch.
All right. Well, what have you been watching?
All right, so we got a screener for a 2025 film called Into the Gravel Pit. So this one is a story about three teens, and they want to have a wild night. So they buy this experimental drug. It kind of looks like pink salt, kind of. And they take this drug and then start going fucking absolutely batshit crazy. Kind of reminds me of when they had, there was that drug going around in Florida where people are like eating people and shit. They're just like
Yeah,
I
we've
forget,
closest we've been to a zombie outbreak.
was it like bath salts or like it was
It
some
was bath
weird,
salts, yeah.
yeah, some weird. It kind of reminded me of that. Meanwhile, there's also a side story going on where these parents are having their terminal daughter come over. They haven't seen her in a while, and they decided that maybe they should like kill her before she goes through like the worst part of the end of her life. And in the like at the same time, kind of kill themselves, kind of murder suicide, but more of a compassion murder suicide than like what you would think, you know. Although it's still wrong because there's no, she didn't give permission to that or anything like that. And at some point, those two stories converge, which I won't spoil what happens there. Yeah, I appreciate the effort with this one. It's definitely better at the end than it is at the beginning. It just like I found it long at times. There's a lot of scenes where there isn't much going on. It's a very indie film, like it's got a low budget and stuff like that. But yeah, it comes out in March at some time, and if you get a chance, I would say check it out. So it's called Into the Gravel Pit, and two names you'll recognize in this movie is Lisa Wilcox and Paul Taylor. So from Nightmare on Elm Street and the new
Hellraiser
Hellraiser.
Judgment, I
Hellraiser
believe.
Judgment. Yeah, that's right. He
Yeah.
played Pinhead in that one.
Mm, very cool.
Mhm.
All right, jumping ahead here because I do have a lot of stuff before this, but I want to talk about it. And we had a movie night this weekend with TJ and Brent. Awesome time. And Brent's choice was Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person, which is a mouthful of a title there. Hailing from France, this one is about a younger vampire. I mean, she's like I don't know, under 100, but old. You know how they age slowly and stuff like that. But she looks like a maybe like 18, 19-year-old girl, and she meets a similar age human male, and basically they go on a journey together and discovering themselves emotionally. Meet a lot of I just want to leave it at that because this is a very slow movie. It's over 90 minutes, I believe, but it never felt like it. I was invested with the characters right off the bat. We learn who they are, vampires, within 2 minutes, so that's not like a joke, or I mean a spoiler. Plus, it's in the fucking title. But we learn that vampires are among us, and they operate normally by killing people and stuff like that. But she has a condition where, like, she physically cannot produce her fangs because she feels too much empathy for her victims. So her family supports her until it gets to the point where it's like you need to be a fucking vampire or you're just gonna fucking die. You know what I mean? So she tries to have a strategy where she is gonna kill someone that wants to kill themselves, right? And that's where we uh we start our journey. I loved it, man. If I would have saw this last year, and I'm confused of the release date because this one had a lot of festival numbers in it. So it says 2023, but wide release in Canada and the United States was 2024, but it just came to Shatter. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what fucking date do I land on? If
Yeah.
I saw it last year, it would have probably been number three in my top 10 list.
Oh wow.
I just, I connected, like I said, it was shot great. There's a scene where they're listening to music and bonding over it, which is awesome. Characters are good. The comedic relief is spot on, and there's some good violence in it, but the focus is not the horror. The focus is the relationship built, even though it's around the horrible act of, killing someone and draining their blood, essentially. Highly recommend it. Slow burn, subtitles. So if you don't like subtitles, you'd be screwed. But yeah, Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. I give it a 4.5 out of 5, and that's streaming over on Shudder.
Yeah, so I remember hearing about it in 2023 because I think it was my cousin and his friend had seen it, and they put it very high on their top of the 2023 list. And then I also saw it on a bunch of 2024 lists last year. And
Hmm.
now I'm thinking some people will probably put it on their 2025 list. Yeah, it's complicated
Maybe.
sometimes with these like
Yeah.
indie films that get kind of staggered releases. But yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So definitely one I'm going to check out at some point. You know what isn't good, however? My next one,
Uh-oh.
2025's Mouse of Horrors, which I watch over on Tubi. So this is what I would call one of the new how would I say it? Like copyright exploitation films or public domain exploitation films, I should say, where these characters are becoming public domain, like these big characters. Of course, we had Winnie the Pooh with had two movies, with the newly found Poohniverse. So this one is kind of a Mickey Mouse one, and an unofficial part of the Poohniverse because on the one hand, it's not on any of the art that says that it's part of the Poohniverse, but Winnie the Pooh shows up from the Winnie the Pooh movie in the costume from the first one. Because I haven't seen the second one, but my understanding is the costume's different in the second one. So this story is a bunch of teenagers. They go to a fair at night and they start getting stalked by this kind of Mickey Mouse type killer. And all of a sudden, you see that there's another killer, which is Winnie the Pooh. And it turns out that they have like this guy who controls them, and he's trying to build them like a bride out of human parts. But they keep bringing back guys instead of girls, and he's getting pissed about it. So he's like, you dumb shits, you got to go after the girls. So they go back to the fair and start chasing the girls, and you have the guy also there to kind of help them along. It's a fucking ridiculous movie. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with this. It's just another one of a cash grab trying to get in on the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse that became public domain last year. I would pass on this one. Honestly, I've seen two of these now. Both of them were pretty shit. There is another one that's out with David Howard Thornton, I think, playing Mickey Mouse. I might check that one out. I think it's more of a short, though. But this one, Mouse of Horrors, yeah, definitely a pass. I gave it 1.5 stars out of 5.
I was thinking Joe watched this one, but he watched Peter Pan last time, I think, which he said was
Yeah, which
decent.
which is an actual Poohniverse.
Poohverse,
Yeah,
Poohverse.
Poohniverse film. You saw the second one. Is there
I
like a
liked it,
guy?
man. It was good.
Is there a guy that controls the?
Not in the sense that it sounds like you described this guy, but there is a puppeteer, so to speak. So I
Okay, is it
wonder,
an old man?
yeah.
Okay, it could be the same. So maybe they are.
Huh.
Maybe it is part of the Poohniverse. I'm really not sure.
Well,
So
fuck it. I'm gonna put him in special delivery too, because you
yeah,
can, right?
yeah.
All right, briefly, I'm going to talk about Horror Hound Weekend, which comes March 21st and through the 23rd in Cincinnati, Ohio, which I'll be going to. Thank you for the press pass and all that stuff. Yeah, honestly, I think there's something on the back end of this because there's not a lot of guests signed up, and it's right around the corner. Of course, everyone from Terrifier is going to be there. Damien Leone, fucking Art the Clown, Mona Rivera, and then all the way down to like the lower build cast members, stuff like that. I mean, a couple singers and stuff. I don't know how you feel about singers, Steve, but I feel the same way about wrestlers being at horror cons. Not needed. Do something else.
They do it a lot too. They're often there. I mean,
Yeah,
unless you're like Chris Jericho, who is in Terrifier, I
that
guess
makes
I
sense.
understand it there. But they have reps like,
Mankind.
yeah,
Yeah.
or you'll get like fucking Greg Valentine or like some random fucking old ass wrestler that's gonna be
Yeah.
there. Oh yeah, it's weird, but that's the thing.
Yeah, so Terrifier is gonna be hot. Like I said, it's got everybody there. It's got a couple Evil Dead remake people, but other than that, it's slow goings with the announcements. So still gonna go, still gonna have a great time. Gonna hit the vendor hall hard, and we'll see what happens. My next film here is gonna be 2025's Wolfman that you guys covered. So I agree with you guys. I thought it was entertaining, but I didn't like the characters all that much. I didn't connect with them, and that goes for the little girl to the mom to the dad that turns into a wolf man. It's like, and it's hard because they play it up as a very secluded film where it's just those three characters essentially out in the woods and in his father's old cabin because his father passed away and now he's taken over the estate and he wants to go visit and get away from the city and blah blah blah. And of course he runs into a werewolf and gets bitten and then now he's turning. But yeah, man, if you don't enjoy the characters, it's hard to root for anything in the film. I did really love the werewolf vision though. I thought that was a really cool touch where like his family was talking to him and from their point of view, they're speaking English, right? But then it kind of does this cool morphing thing where it goes into what he sees and how he sees the world and how he hears it. And he's speaking English, but to them he's speaking gibberish. And it's just really cool because he's now has the senses of a wolf slash dog or whatever now. So it's pretty neat. Plus, we explore like his super senses, right? He thinks something's banging in the house, and we follow him as he's trying to look for what it is, and it's a spider walking, which is a really cool set piece. But yeah, like I said, didn't like the characters, so I thought it was overall an average film. If we're going like best of the Wolfman universe, you got to go with the original, in my opinion. But this one was okay. I gave it a 3 out of 5, and that's currently on demand.
What do you think of Benicio del Toro's Wolfman, like 10 years ago, approximately? I'd say?
Been a minute, man. I don't remember a lot, honestly. I just remember him saying like, "I'll kill all of you," and that was
Yeah,
pretty much
I
it.
would say I preferred that one over this one from memory. So,
Anthony Hopkins is in there too, right?
yeah.
Okay, maybe I need to do a rewatch because I've only seen it the one time.
hmm Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I mean, it's too bad that the characters weren't, and like they barely looked married at all. It was weird.
Yeah,
It was
I
such a
didn't buy the
weird.
mom being a mom.
Yeah, and I fucking love her, but in this movie, it just didn't work, for me anyway.
Yeah, you're right though. They didn't seem like a couple, and I know that
Wow.
that was a little bit of a theme
Yeah,
that
but
they're.
not to that extent. Like they
Yeah,
could have been brother sister. I would have believed it.
yeah, they could have been literally anything, and I just didn't buy the mom act. I didn't buy that actress as the mom character. She was very like unmom-like, which
Mhm.
was another plot point, but it just didn't.
Right.
It didn't
Yeah,
like. It just didn't help that you didn't like them. So
exactly.
like, who gives a shit if they're in risk? Like, whatever, die.
Yep. All right. So since Joe isn't here, let's do one more what watch. I actually have a fourth one that I'm going to talk about at the end of the review because I also watched the Martyrs remake, the American remake, but it would give away my thoughts of the original Martyrs. So I'll save that for after that review. So my other one is a 2024 film, which I watched over on Tubi, and that is the Jack in the Box Rises. So the original Jack in the Box came out 3 years ago, and I really liked the trailer. So I decided to check it out, and I was disappointed. It was like a cool concept, but it really didn't do a great job. Last year, I was really pushing, or 2 years ago, I was really pushing for the 100 films, that I want to review of the year. So I watched the second one, and honestly, it was a lot better than the first one. It's like they learned from all their mistakes on the first one and just improved it almost in every way. So I saw that they made a third one, and I didn't get to it at the end of last year like I wanted to, but I did want to check it out also because I needed my fucking completion on Letterboxd, which drives me nuts when I don't have. So this one is the same Jack in the Box from the other two films, but this like kind of shady character. He wants a Jack in the Box for himself so he can use it for nefarious reasons. So he blackmails this young girl because the Jack in the Box is in like a all girls school, and she's like, basically, I'll kill your boyfriend if you don't go sign up to this school, find the box for me, and then bring it back to me. So that's what she does. She signs up to this school. It's like this very kind of preppy girls' school, and the rest of the film is her trying to find the box, but someone else finds the box first and unleashes the Jack in the Box. And if anyone's seen the film, basically there's a counter on the box that it has to kill so many people before being able to go back in the box and kind of rest again. So it's him basically going after all the girls in the school and killing everybody. This film is better than the first one for sure, but not as good as the second one. The main issue for me is that it's so fucking dark. Like, not the good kind of dark. Like, I'm talking like the Predator, like, what is it, the third one or fourth one that's fucking like dark as shit. And you can't,
Requiem.
Requiem, yeah, where you can't see anything. And you're like,
Mm.
I don't even understand what's going on here. Which is too bad because the Jack in the Box character is really cool. There's some pretty gruesome kills in it as well. There are other things that also pop up, and that part of it is awesome. But again, it was so hard to follow because you couldn't see anything. The whole movie has this really dark, like, ambiance to it, and on top of that, they have like a blood moon, so it's got this red hue coming out of the windows, which makes it almost even darker and harder to see. So yeah, it's not one that I could say is amazing, but this series honestly is not that bad. Like if you're gonna go and to watch some kind of indie slasher, you could do a lot worse than this series. So I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5. So that's the Jack in the Box Rises over on Tubi.
So it's a Jack in the Box Like you have to activate him and he jumps
Mhm.
up and bites your face off or something?
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. And then he goes on a killing rampage until he
Does
reaches
he
his like magic number.
does he hop around? Like he
No, he
just
gets
hops?
out. A clown gets out and
Oh,
like,
okay. I thought it was just literally Jack in the Box the entire time.
no, no, no. The Jack eventually does come out and starts like it
Interesting.
becomes like a kind of killer slot, like a supernatural slasher.
That's pretty clever. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's honestly not terrible.
All right, my third one is a rewatch called Nightbreed, Clive Barker's Nightbreed from 1990. I originally didn't like this film, and I think this is my third time watching it, but I got a cheap Scream Factory edition, which is the director's cut, so it's much longer. And it's about this guy named Boone, and he has like these dark visions and stuff, and he goes to a psychiatrist played by what the fuck is his name? Gosh damn, David Cronenberg. And Cronenberg is like, he eggs him up, he hypes him up. It's like, Boone, like, you're seeing dark shit, man. And there's been like a serial killer running around. I know it's you, motherfucker. So he's like manipulating him and thinking he's a serial killer. When Boone is not, he just has these visions of Midian, which is like this underworld for monsters, which is a whole fucking different story. But dickhead David Cronenberg is like the actual serial killer. And he's pinning it on Boone, and I'm pretty sure he pins all his murders on other patients, and he's just a fucking asshole like that. So Boone like is obsessed with this underworld, and it's one of those like it's a oh yeah I know where Midian is, but like I'm not going to tell you kind of thing. So everyone kind of knows about where it's at, but then they pretend they don't, and the police are investigating the murders, and then Boone gets framed for murder, so he goes on the run, he gets killed, and then he goes to Midian, and blah blah blah. The where this movie shines is the effects and the world building, right? The effects for the creatures are fucking great, man. They vary from like just a blob of a dude to like a simple person with some horns to everything in between. The Midian world is like a kind of like a descent into hell where they're just like these creatures are just thriving and they have their own little thing. And of course, it's under a cemetery, which adds another cool factor to it. And we just follow Boone Man as he's trying to clear his name, and he's got his girlfriend going after him trying to help, and you got dickhead David Cronenberg killing people and pinning on Boone and so on and so on. And it's just now I appreciate it, and I think it's because the director's cut. It fleshes things out quite a bit. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but as of now, I give it a 3.5 out of 5, and that is currently streaming on Shudder as well as Prime. But you can get a cheap Blu-ray copy if you're into that, so I recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, Martyrs.
Yeah.
All right, Martyrs 2008, directed by Mr. Pascal Lahire. Steven,
It's
nailed
a
it.
good attempt. It's a good attempt, but it's Pascal Logi.
What? Luigi?
Logi.
Logi.
Yeah.
Pascal Logi. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Tagline: They haven't finished being alive. A young woman's quest for revenge against the people who kidnapped and tortured her as a child leads her and her best friend, also a victim of child abuse, on a terrifying journey into a living hell of depravity. All right. So, this movie, we open with a young girl. She's in like a dilapidated kind of warehouse district, right? She's yelling. She's clearly been in duress, whatever. What's happened to this? I don't know. So we follow her as what happened to her is a little bit explained. We flash forward to like an orphanage, would you call it, Steve, that she's in?
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk to anybody. She's like, recluse because she's abused, right? And she doesn't explain to anybody what happened. But then this other girl befriends her and starts helping her become, quote unquote, normal again, helping her through a trauma, things like that. Then we jump in about 15 years later, and the two girls from the orphanage, best friends, whatever, they're all grown up. And we go along with the girl's journey as she kind of finds out who abused her all those years ago, and now she's on a fucking mission to kill all these people, right? So we follow that. Plus, she's got severe, severe mental health issues, man, where she's hallucinating basically a monster version of herself, and that version of herself attacks her physically. Um, and of course, the vision isn't hurting her; she's hurting herself, but sees it as that. And you have her friend trying to help her, and then she's trying to murder people, and then we have this whole conspiracy of a group of people doing nasty shit. So first time watch for me, and I don't, I I didn't love it for a couple reasons, which we'll get into a little bit later. What I did appreciate though was I liked the acting from the two main girls. I thought they were really effective with their pain and everything. And I loved the opening where we meet them as grown-ups and they're going on their rampage at the beginning. The French and shotguns, man, they go together, man. High tension happens, this movie it happens, and she just goes through her thing. I thought the film shined when she was on the offense, but on the defense side of things, I thought it kind of faltered, especially when we get a little bit further into the story. And it's pretty clear that this guy, I read this book about maybe about 2 years ago called Exoskeleton. And essentially the plot was prisoners, horrific prisoners like a rape, murder, whatever, they go in this exoskeleton and their sentence is commuted if they can survive 1 year of torture. And we'll get into the ending of this film later, but it's for the same reason that they do it in the book that it happens in this movie. So clearly the guy in the book watched this movie and stole or borrowed a couple things from it. So, Steve, what do you think?
So this is the second time I've seen it. I watched it when it first came out in like 2009 or 2010, whenever it came out on DVD. And I remember like liking it, but thinking it goes a little too far, for my taste. This is often known or in the conversation of one of the most like extreme films that have come out. When people have that, what are the most extreme horror films? This one is often part of the conversation, and I could see why. I mean, it's brutal, very brutal at times. I mean, the third act is basically just torture. There's not a whole lot outside of torture. So I was curious to, like now that I'm more of a seasoned horror like watcher and how it would like hit. And honestly, I loved it this time around. Uh, it's tough to watch at times, absolutely, but I like that it's leading up to something. It's not torture for torture's sake. There's a lot of torture porn movies that came around this time, and it feels like the torture is a little gratuitous. Whereas in this case, it starts off to where you think it's gratuitous, but there's a point to it all, and it almost gave me uh like Rosemary's Babies vibe. It's like a cult basically that's running this whole thing, and it kind of comes together in a really interesting way. And I also say that I like the very clear like three act structure in this one. You have the first where it's kind of the girl's revenge, which was fucking brutal. And then the second one, which is the cleanup and the PTSD, fallback of the beginning. And then the last one is the torture. And I think each one of these elements were very interesting. And yeah, I think it's a solid movie, especially if you can look past the very gruesome torture.
Yeah, and I really love the bait and switch at the beginning. Well, after the time jump to when Lucy, we start off very innocently. We're with this
Mhm.
family, young teens, whatever. Parents seem like cool people, and we think that Lucy is the bad person.
Mhm.
And she comes in with a fucking shotgun and starts, killing everybody, kids, the parents. I'm like, holy fuck! And then you learn that they're fucking pieces of shit. My question: did the kids know about it?
I think so. It's like I don't know. I have a feeling that they knew it wasn't hidden enough for them not to know about it, but she doesn't know for sure, right? And I have a lot
Yeah,
of questions about this scene. I'm sure you have some of the same notes that I
yeah, go
do.
for it.
First one, before even the shotgun part, kind of fucking psycho puts a dead mouse on the goddamn breakfast table,
I
and
know.
like, 'cause it's so gross.
She's like, I know what's blocking up the pipes. This
Yeah,
dead
yeah.
mouse. Like, what the hell?
That was a really interesting scene. And the other one is so when she sees the young boy, well, he's not that young. He's 18, I think he says in this
Yeah,
movie.
something like that. Yeah.
She asks him how old you are. And I'm wondering, was there a right answer here? Like, is she just trying to process it in her mind? Like, why is she asking how old he is if she's just going to kill him anyway? Because she has no fucking problem killing the younger girl later
That's
on.
true. That's true.
I don't know. It was a weird moment, but I wonder if it's her like trying to figure out like do they know or don't they know, and she comes to the conclusion. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, that they probably know.
Yeah. That's a good point because I was gonna say if he says he's 12, she'll spare him, but that girl was maybe 14. What would you guess her age?
Yeah,
15-ish.
like 14, 15. Yeah.
so it's not like she gives a fuck. Um,
Right.
yeah, blows those motherfuckers away. Awesome sequence. I was so into it.
God, he flew. Was
Oh
it?
yeah,
Yeah, it's him. He flew the fuck away, man. Like Jesus Christ, it was
yeah,
awesome.
it was great. And then we kind of go meet this other. Well, we meet her beforehand, like this deformed creature, and that scared well, not scared the fuck out of me, but it was like very disturbing to see the creature on the end of her bed. I'm like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
that? And then we kind of flash forward a little bit, and she's, committed this four-person killing frenzy, and then the creature shows up and starts attacking her and things like that. And at this point, you don't know what the fuck's happening. Like, is this a real thing? Is it in her mind? And eventually
Right.
we learn that, yeah, it is in her mind, and then her friend shows up and tries to help her. I don't know, man. This is where it kind of lost steam for me because they're battling this creature, but it's not really there. It's in her head. So is she fighting her friend the entire time? It's kind of like a Fight Club situation, or what?
Hmm.
I don't know.
See, I actually like this scene, this like sequence, because we got a physical manifestation of her PTSD, of her issues or inner demon, and I think it helped really show kind of like what she was going through in her mind. And you also get, at some point the mom is like alive,
Yeah,
and
oh yeah, she comes back.
the other girl tries to save the mom, and but the other
Why
girl's
though?
like, "Fuck no." Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, does she not realize what the mom has done to her? Because she should know, right? So why
Yeah,
is she
because
trying to
she knows
save
her
her?
friend's on this quest,
Right.
so she knows why she's there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, so
I
I
don't
was
know.
curious why she tried to save the mom, but I like that she like as soon as the other girl gets it back, she brutally fucking kills the mom. Like just
Yeah, what she kill her with, like a bat or something? I forget.
was it a knife or a bat?
I
I
thought
think it
she
was.
smashed her head in with something.
It's because I watched both movies like back to back, so like
Yeah,
trying to remember. But yeah, she's
lots of torture
I
for you.
remember it was bloody as hell though. It was pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Gore was fucking insane in this movie. It was
Oh
excellent.
yeah, yeah. There's so much blood. The house is
So
like
much.
full of blood,
Yeah.
which is crazy because there's four victims, right? But there was fucking blood everywhere, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so eventually our girl Lucy snaps
Hmm.
and kills herself, finally.
Right.
And then oof, the real horror starts, man.
Hmm.
This we learned that these sick motherfuckers were just the tip of the iceberg, and these like, super rich looking motherfuckers come in. Actually, I'll backtrack because Lucy kills herself. And then her friend finds another victim that they have in the house. And
Yeah.
that's when it starts getting gross.
Oh my God. The
Oh,
I love, I mean, in a sick way, I love the look of that other victim. Like
oh,
that woman looks like she's been through some fucking hell.
oh my
And they
God.
did a
Yeah.
good, it actually almost reminded me of the zombie in Return of the Living Dead 3, the one that they see at the facility where he's got all these like metal fucking
Oh,
things
yeah,
attached
yeah.
to him and he's got the thing in his mouth, you know?
I was thinking Walking Dead, one of those metal zombies that they put
Yeah, yeah,
together.
it could be that as well.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, she's scarred from head to toe, has like a metal cap, whatever,
Yeah.
screwed into her her skull. And it's just, we follow her as she's trying to save her, and it just sucks because I guess she's blind and deaf at this point and been tortured for how whoever knows long, and then she's about to win or she's about to get loose, and then these fucking assholes come and just blow her away like nothing, and then they capture our girl and saying
Mhm.
like she explains what's going to happen to her, and I guess you can take it from there if you want.
Yeah, I before we get there, I just want to like say how fucking well they represent pain
Mm.
and trauma. We see it with Lucy at first with her inner demons. When she's cutting herself, it's fucking brutal. Like it hurts to watch. Again, same thing. When they find that victim, you could feel like you feel sad for her because you could tell she's been through so much and she doesn't want to live anymore. All she wants to
Yeah,
do is basically kill herself, you know? And the other girl's like, no, 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 we can save you and everything like that.
fuck that.
It's like this weird feeling that I had between like pity that she died, but at the same time, like relief because like she couldn't live a fucking normal life after this. And that's why I find this movie so brilliant is it really brings you through this range of emotions and dueling emotions, and I think they did a great job. And this plays again into once we it's Anna, I think the one that's the last one.
think so.
She gets captured, and at first it's not too bad. They put her into like a danky basement and they force feed her, but nothing too crazy. But then this fucking gigantic man beats the living shit out of her to the point where it's tough to watch.
It's hard to watch, man. Yeah, he's which is we talk about this often where women are abused and it's rough because usually it's a rape and that's hard to watch. And
Mhm.
this is thankfully not sexually motivated, but
Right.
then it's just brutality or brutal, whatever you want to say, motivated, and he's just fucking decking her. And it's
Mhm.
like,
And a lot, like we see it a lot,
yeah, they
like
don't hide it.
it's over like a period of days, like that you keep seeing her, like, and every time he goes down there, he fucking just beats the crap out of her. And then they'll give you a moment where he'll like pet her head like gently, and kind of like holding her and petting her, and then knees her in the face and start beating her up again. It's
Yeah.
like fucking shit.
Yeah,
What?
it's rough. It's hard. It's a hard watch, man.
It's a
It's,
very, very hard
unless
watch.
you're a
Yeah.
soulless bastard, which
Mhm.
I'm just kidding. There's people out here who can stomach it. It's just for me, it's like, gosh, damn, this is fucking going on and on. But we learned that the psycho fucks are torturing people essentially to see if they can get their minds to the, like, I guess, see enlightenment, right? The
Yeah.
other side, whether it's heaven or hell or whatever's on the other side. And
Mhm.
they believe by torturing them, which is the exact fucking same thing in Exoskeleton. So like this guy definitely watched this movie. That by torturing them, they can get to their minds to the point where they know what's on the other side. I guess Exoskeleton, it's they're trying to get their soul to leave their body and they can kind of like force project almost,
Okay.
astral projection, things like that. But this one is literally, right, just to see heaven and hell or
Yeah, it's essentially
something like that.
to cross over to the other side while still being physically alive. Is
Ugh,
basically
gosh.
and from what we're understanding is they've been trying to do this for a long, long time. They have photo and video evidence that it might have happened in the like way distant past during like wars and stuff. And they have like a presentation that shows people where they think might have gone through what they call martyr status. You could
At the
see in their
PowerPoint.
eyes, yeah, where they're alive, but their eyes like have a certain like kind of glow to them that
Uh-huh.
makes them like just go nuts. And yeah, oh my God, as if the fucking beating, like the beatings isn't bad enough. They like hang her up, like upside down, kind of, or like facing down, and skin her completely
Ugh.
from head to toe. Oh God, it's so disgusting. And yeah, and then they're like, she looks dead, but she's still alive, and her eyes start showing that kind of heavenly look. And
Yeah.
that's when they're like, oh my God, you got to call like the mother, which is like the person who runs this facility, and tell her because I think we found a martyr.
Right. And with the hope of the martyr, and they call them martyr because, martyrs who suffer for the greater good, right? So
Right.
their quote unquote greater good is the martyr, quote unquote, um, getting a secret or two from the afterlife and bringing it over to our bad
Hmm.
people and giving them secrets and telling them the ins and outs. Yeah, fuck that lady, man. Mother,
Yeah.
or she's a fucking bitch. And here's a thought, man. Maybe they're not your victims aren't going to heaven or hell or yeah, whatever it is. Maybe you just fucking broke their spirit because you're torturing them and cutting them and beating them and you screwed a fucking skull cap to that lady. You whipped her when she was a young girl. They made her you just shit on shit in a pot. Didn't let her leave her chair for X amount of time. They
Yeah.
flayed her alive. Maybe their fucking mind snapped. You stupid psycho bitch.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. It just makes me angry because something like this has happened, especially
Oh,
during
for sure.
wartime,
Yeah.
and it's just it's terrible to think about. I mean, we have evidence of it happening without getting political in different wars. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
oh, we
um,
could say it like World War II.
yeah,
The Germans were known for because apparently like Hitler had obsession with the paranormal and the afterlife.
mhm,
So they do like horrendous things to people to try to kind of like figure out
yeah.
some things. And
Japanese
it's
did it too for
mhm.
different reasons, like just want to see what would happen to a body if they cut off an arm and sewed it to your fucking head. It's like it's
Right.
insane.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Or like affecting someone. They oh man, they had an obsession with twins. I don't know, remember if it's the Germans, the Japanese, but like, do I if I infect one twin or cut off
Right.
his arm, does the other twin feel it? It's like, gosh, damn, dude. It's like fucking people are crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, the the main bad girl goes up to Anna and it's like Anna whispers something in her ear,
Mhm.
and we don't know what that is, but it leads to the old lady blowing her fucking brains out. So I
Yeah.
take that as Anna confirmed the afterlife, and the girl wanted to
Right.
go there immediately. What about you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I got out of it as well. But the weird thing is they call all their rich friends and they all fucking come over and like
Ugh,
their fancy cars and everything. And the butler, or whatever he is like, okay, she's going to give you the secret to the afterlife, and they're all waiting there. But I don't. She doesn't tell them, right? She just offs
no,
herself before telling them.
she says some cryptic bullshit
Yeah.
and then kills herself. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I took it the exact same way where whatever Anna told her made her think like I need to go there now. I'm not wasting more time as this mortal coil. And yeah, it's fucking sick.
It is very disgusting. I kind of wanted a worse ending for these people. And I don't know if the American remake they
Well,
expand upon that or not, or
so that's what I'm going to get to. So spoilers for the American remake. So the first two acts of the American remake are very close to the two acts of this one. You have the same shotgun fucking flying away
nice.
scene. You have Anna, fighting her like actual demon, like kind of dead looking girl, and being trying to not Anna, or I forget
Lucy.
her name, Lucy or Anna. Yeah. So whichever, they're fighting a demon and her friends trying to help her, but in the American remake, um, Lucy, which is the one who killed herself, and the French one doesn't kill herself. She gets recaptured by
Yikes.
the group, and Anna goes on a mission to like save her and starts basically. It becomes like a revenge story where she goes and kills all of the people
Kind
who
of like that,
came to
man.
the house. See, and to me. So I think the American remake isn't as bad as people say. I think on its own, it's a good film, but it just doesn't have anything special about it that I think the French version had, because it becomes like a really typical revenge plot. And because you don't see the torture really all that much in the American remake, because that whole act is different, you really just have to go off the fact that she got tortured as a child. That's what she's revenging on in this one. Whereas, like, it's obviously it's enough because you never fucking touch a child in any type of way like that. But it doesn't have the same like gravitas as the French version, in my opinion. And I actually like the whole martyr thing. It wasn't like torture for torture's sake. It was these fucking psychos trying to get this like status. Like if I had made the American remake, I would have kept that, except I would have made a much bigger like production. I would have had all of the people kill themselves. Just
Oh,
not
that's
just
sick.
the mother, but everyone just like, they hear what we don't even hear it. Like he just says it, you don't hear it, and then all of a sudden they like smile and they fucking all take out their handguns and shoot themselves. Like, I'd make it a little more like almost like the end of Ready or Not without the head
Gosh, yeah.
popping, but like they all like just off themselves, and it's almost like she gets revenge without having to do anything.
What if, how do you feel about if that happens and then Anna's like,
She laughs.
lied.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just
Like
kidding.
where like her last breath is her like basically like smirking, saying like she
Yeah,
got the last laugh.
right. Like they're all going to hell or something.
Yeah, and that's where I think the American remake should have gone, instead of the really typical revenge plot
Revenge.
with the semi-happy ending.
So it kind of sounds like the Last House on the Left situation,
Mhm.
original and remake, where both are standalone good films, but you don't have the remake without the original, so the remake doesn't really matter.
Right.
Is that kind of the same
Yeah,
gist or
yeah. It's
whatever?
it's it's like if you watch on its own, it's good, but if you've seen the original, it just doesn't hit the same way at all. I kind of feel the same way about Speak No Evil, right? I think
Hmm.
as like tough to watch as the original is, the remake is good, but it doesn't have the same impact. It's not
Yeah.
as memorable. So yeah.
All right, well, let's see what Joe says over on Letterboxd. This movie takes you in a captivating journey through three distinct acts, each as engaging as the last. It wasn't as brutal as I remembered, though the third act does contain some difficult moments to watch. The performances are outstanding, and the film masterfully weaves a thought-provoking story that lingers in your mind long after it ends. So, pretty much what we said as well.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I still don't love it, man. And I don't know if it was just because it was a little too brutal to enjoy,
Right.
or I don't know. But are you ready to rate it?
Yep, I'm ready.
What you got?
So I'll just say the American remake, I give a 3 out of 5,
Nice.
but the original French version, I gave a 4 out of 5. I think it could have been a 4.5. It was just too brutal. Like it just, I don't know. I just don't like watching women get beat up that way and all that stuff. So that's what knocks it down a little bit to me. But I still thought it was very, very strong film. So 4 out of 5 is my final score.
All right, and that matches Joe's 4 out of 5, but mine is a little bit slightly lower with a 3 out of 5. Still a fine film, nothing that I'm going to rewatch anytime soon. And Letterbox has it at a 3.6 out of 5, so right between our scores there. So,
Yeah, and would you agree that this is one of the most extreme films that you've seen? Because
oh
I
yeah,
mean, it's bad for sure, but I don't know if I'd put it in the same conversation as some of the other really extreme films.
I would think Cannibal Holocaust probably is still up higher than this one.
Yeah, but that for
Um,
yeah, me too because of the real
the realness,
adult
yeah, and
killings.
animal shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying this isn't as bad, or
Like
is
it's
it?
bad. Like don't get me wrong. I could see this being on
Video nasty
some
for
like I think
sure.
nasty had they still had it at this
Yeah.
point, but I just don't think like one of the I wouldn't put it in the top tier of extreme horror films. We talked about like August Underground and Serbian film
Which is two
Salo.
films I'll never watch. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. There's like a level, right, to me that
Right.
is like the I get no enjoyment watching it. Whereas this, I think, I didn't enjoy watching it, but I think it's a very solid film.
There's
So
a cohesive story to it though.
exactly, yeah.
Unlike what I've heard, because obviously I said I'm never gonna watch it, never
Although
will, never
a
have.
Serbian film, it has other than it's like two or three really extreme moments, which are
Uh-huh.
absolutely disgusting. It's actually a pretty serviceable film as well.
Okay.
There's a good story for it, but it's like it's 2 hours long. There's maybe 3 minutes of it that are extreme, and it overshadows the other. Like,
Gotcha.
it's one of those.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got for this app, right?
Yeah, yeah. So next week we're going to review our semi-final film for the perk ones that we got. And I say semi because we do have another film, Stoner Snake, but it hasn't released yet, so we can't review it until it releases. So we will get to that at some point. But this is the final one that we had on queue, and it is Beyond the Black Rainbow, which was picked actually by my cousin. So,
Nice.
my cousin, he has a very artistic kind of, like he really likes artistic horror. So I see this being in the same vein as something like Climax or like kind of really artsy horror film. And I'm curious. I'm really curious. He's been talking to me about it for a few years now, so let's see what it's all about. I know nothing about it. I'm gonna keep it that way. I want to watch it blind, so
Yeah, the only thing I know about it is the still on the streaming platform it's on, which is if you go to Amazon Prime and you search it up, it's on some free trial.
a
Not Prime
movie or something,
itself.
right? Like,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah.
But it's like a 7-day free trial, so you can just grab it that way.
Hmm.
But yeah, we wish Joe a speedy recovery, and you can find us on Letterbox, Horror Squad Joe, Steve, Todd, so on and so on. Instagram, the Horror Squad Podcast. Come over to our Discord, where
Hmm.
Steve's got movie night. We just started a physical media collection group, which is, a lot of fun. Talk about Blu-rays and VHS tapes and all that crap. And you can send us an email at the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com, but you're most likely to get us on Instagram. Just send us a message and we'll respond to you. And man, we got the movie coming out,
Yeah.
and that's it, man. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.